The person you chose to love can change your entire life. And I don't just mean your love life. I'm talking about your peace, your finances, your confidence, your relationship with your family, your friends, your future, your purpose, and sometimes even your relationship with God. We spend so much time asking, do I love them? But maybe that's not the most important question. Maybe you need to ask, what is loving this person costing me? Because everybody you can fall in love with is not somebody you can build a life with. Chemistry can make you overlook character. Loneliness can make you negotiate your standards. Attraction can make you ignore warning signs. And desperation to have somebody can make you hold on the wrong or hold on to the wrong somebody. Hear me clearly. The mate you choose can either help you build your life or help you destroy it. And by the time you discover the difference, the price may be much higher than you ever imagined. Stay with me because this conversation could change the way you choose relationships forever. Welcome to the Daily Uplift Official for encouragement you can count on. This is where we have conversations about life, faith, relationships, healing, wisdom, and becoming the person God created you to be. If you're new here to the channel, subscribe, share the video with someone who needs this message, and let's get into it. Because today we're talking about something people often discover too late. The mate you chose can cost you everything. Let's start right here. You can love somebody who is wrong for you. I know we don't like hearing that. We've been taught that love conquers everything, but love does not automatically conquer everything. Let me say that wrong. I messed up. We've been taught that love conquers everything, but love does not automatically create capability. Love doesn't automatically create honesty. Love doesn't create financial responsibility. Love doesn't automatically create emotional maturity. Love doesn't automatically create emotional maturity. Love doesn't automatically create faithfulness. Love doesn't automatically create community or communication skills. And love doesn't automatically create character. You can genuinely love someone and still be unable to build a healthy life with them. That's why choosing a mate requires more than asking, how do I feel when I'm around this person? Feelings matter, but character matters too. Ask yourself, how do they respond when they're angry? How do they handle money? How do they treat people who can't do anything for them? How do they respond when they're told no? Can they apologize? Can they take responsibility? Can they keep commitments? Can they tell the truth when the truth makes them look bad? Because eventually, you're not going to be dating someone's appearance. You're going to be living with their character. Some of the most dangerous relationships starts with incredible chemistry. You talk all night. You laugh at everything. You can't stop thinking about them. You say, I never felt this way before. And maybe you haven't. But feeling something intensely doesn't automatically mean something is healthy. Sometimes chemistry is so powerful that we begin explaining away everything our wisdom is trying to warn us about. They're controlling, but they really love me. They're disrespectful. They've been through a lot. They lie. They're afraid of losing me. They disappear and come back. They just need time. They keep breaking promises. Well, nobody's perfect. Hold on. Nobody is perfect. That's true. But there's a difference between imperfections and patterns. Everybody makes mistakes, but repeated dishonesty is a pattern. Repeated disrespect is a pattern. Repeated irresponsibility is a pattern. Repeated betrayal is a pattern. Repeated manipulation is a pattern. Don't call a pattern a mistake just because you're afraid of what acknowledging the pattern might require you to do. Let's talk about the first price, your peace. Before this relationship, you could sleep. Now you're checking phones, checking locations, checking social media, reading between every line, wondering why they haven't called, wondering who they're talking to, wondering where they're telling the truth. You're consistently anxious, consistently suspicious, consistently preparing for the next argument, and you call it love. But somewhere along the line, love turned into surveillance. Listen, healthy relationships can have difficult seasons. People can experience insecurity, conflict, and misunderstandings. But if chaos has become the normal atmosphere of your relationship, don't ignore that. You shouldn't have to become a detective to stay in love. Your nervous system shouldn't have to live on high alert just to maintain a relationship. Sometimes we're asking God for peace while refusing to address the person consistently disrupting it. Pay attention to what a relationship produces in you. Now, we're going somewhere people don't talk about enough. Who you choose can affect your financial future. You can be disciplined with money and connect yourself to somebody who is financially reckless. You save, they spend. You budget, they hide purchases. You plan for tomorrow, they live entirely for today. You try building credit, they creating debt. You're trying to buy a home, they're financing an image. And then you get married and discover that financial incapability doesn't appear because you had a beautiful wedding. Marriage connects lives, and financial decisions can have long term consequences. Not after. Talk about debt. Talk about spending, talk about saving, talk about financial goals, talk about expectations, talk about generosity, talk about lifestyles, talk about who's responsible for what. Romance says, we'll figure it out. Wisdom says, let's talk about it before we commit our lives to one another. Have you ever watched someone get into a relationship and slowly disappear? They stop calling their friends. They stop visiting family. They stop participating in things they used to enjoy. And sometimes that's and sometimes that's normal to a degree. Relationships change schedules and priorities. But sometimes it's something else. The mate becomes jealous of everybody. Your friends are a problem. Your family is a problem. Your coworkers are a problem. Anybody who questions the relationship becomes a problem. And eventually your entire world gets smaller. Be careful when love requires isolation. A healthy partner doesn't need to erase every meaningful relationship in your life to feel secure. And if somebody is deliberately separating you from people you trust, controlling who you speak to, monitoring you, or making you afraid to maintain outside relationships, take that seriously. Love should not require you to surrender your entire support system. This may be the biggest one. You can lose yourself trying to keep somebody else. You used to have dreams. You used to have confidence. You used to have standards. You used to have opinions. You used to laugh. You used to enjoy life. Then slowly you started changing, not growing, shrinking. You learned which subjects not to mention. You learned what clothes would start an anger argument. You learn which friends cause problems. You learned when to stay quiet. You learned how to keep the peace. And eventually you look in the mirror and think, who have I become? Compromise is necessary in healthy relationships, but there's a difference between compromise and self erasure. You shouldn't have to disappear for somebody else to feel comfortable. You shouldn't have to become smaller so somebody else can feel bigger. The relationship or the right relationship should give both people room to maintain whole while growing together. Here's what a lot of good people, or here's where a lot of good people get trapped. You aren't in love with who the person is. You're in love with who you believe they could become. You say they have so much potential. Maybe, but potential isn't character. Potential isn't consistency. Potential isn't commitment. Potential isn't change. Everybody has potential. The question is, what are they actually doing with it? Don't marry a promise while ignoring a problem. Again, don't marry a promise while ignoring a problem. Don't make a permanent decision based entirely on who somebody says they're going to become. Pay attention to who they consistently demonstrate themselves to be. If they change, wonderful. But you cannot build your entire future on the assumption that another adult will eventually become the person you need them to be. Stop thinking marriage will fix it. Now, this deserves its own conversation. Marriage doesn't magically repair character problems. If communication is terrible before the marriage, a wedding doesn't automatically make communication healthy. If somebody is irresponsible before marriage, vows don't automatically create discipline. If there is serious dishonesty before marriage, a marriage certificate doesn't automatically produce integrity. If there are unresolved problems before marriage, marriage can intensify them because now your lives are even more connected. Stop saying once we get married, things will settle down. Maybe they will, but don't gamble your future on it. Address major issues before you make major commitments. Sometimes premarital counseling reveals conversations couples never realized they needed to have. And if somebody refuses every opportunity for honest discussion, accountability, or counseling, that's information too. Now, watch how they handle conflict. If you want to know somebody's character, don't only watch how they behave when they're happy, watch them when they're disappointed, when they don't get their way, when they're corrected, when they're embarrassed, when they're angry, when you disagree. Because eventually every relationship will have conflict. The question isn't, will we disagree? You will. The question is, what happens when we disagree? Can we disagree without becoming disrespectful? Can we discuss something without threatening the relationship? Can we listen? Can we apologize? Can we repair? Can we admit when we're wrong? Or does every disagreement becomes punishment, silence, threats, name calling, humiliation, manipulation? Healthy love needs healthy conflict resolution. Now, don't ignore what you saw at the beginning. This one right here is going to get somebody. Sometimes the thing destroying the relationship today was visible at the beginning. You just thought it would change. The jealousy was there, the temper was there, the dishonesty was there, the irresponsibility was there, the disrespect was there, the inconsistency was there, and your intuition said, pay attention. But your feeling said, Give it time. There's nothing wrong with giving people room to grow. We all need grace, but grace does not require blindness. You can love somebody and still pay attention. You can forgive somebody and still recognize a pattern. You can hope for somebody and still have boundaries. Don't let loneliness choose for you. Sometimes the person isn't that you don't recognize the wrong person. Sometimes the problem isn't that you don't recognize the wrong person. The problem is you're afraid of being alone. So you start negotiating. Things that used to be unacceptable become, well, everybody has issues. Standards become, maybe I'm expecting too much. Red flags becomes, maybe I'm overthinking. No, being alone for a season is not worse than connecting your life to somebody who systematically destroys your peace. Loneliness can hurt, but the wrong relationship can create a loneliness that is even deeper. There's a particular kind of loneliness that comes from lying next to somebody and feeling completely unseen. Don't let fear make permanent decisions for you. Choose someone you can build with. Choose someone you can talk to. Choose someone who respects you. Choose someone who apologizes. Choose somebody who create or who celebrates your growth instead of feeling threatened by it. Choose somebody who understands relationships. Choose somebody who has integrity when nobody is watching. Choose somebody who's willing to grow. Choose somebody who doesn't need to destroy your confidence to maintain theirs. Choose somebody who can disagree without becoming cruel. Choose somebody whose values are capable with the future you're trying to build. And if faith is central to your life, don't treat spiritual capability like a minor detail, because the person you choose isn't just somebody you're going to dinner with. You're potentially choosing the person who will be beside you during illness, financial hardship, grief, career changes, family problems, parenthood, aging, disappointment, success, failure, and everything in between. Choose accordingly. Love with your heart. Choose with wisdom. I want to leave this with you. Don't just ask whether you love them. Ask, can I trust them? Can we communicate? Do they respect me? Do our values align? Can we solve problems together? Are we both growing? Can this person take responsibility? Can I be myself around them? Does this relationship produce more healthy or more dysfunction? Does this relationship produce more health or more dysfunction? And perhaps the biggest question, who am I becoming because I'm connected to this person? Because relationships don't just reveal who you're with, they can shape who you're becoming. The wrong person can cause you years trying to recover what you lost trying to keep them, your confidence, your money, your friendships, your opportunities, your dreams, yourself, your sense of self. So don't choose a lifetime partner based on a temporary feeling. Love with your heart, but choose wisdom, because the make you choose can influence almost every part of the life you're trying to build. And some decisions are too expensive to make with your eyes closed. If this message spoke to you, share the video with someone who needs to hear it, especially someone making serious decisions about a relationship. In the comments, write, I will choose wisdom. If you haven't already, subscribe and become part of this community. Welcome to the Daily Uplift Official for encouragement you can count on. Remember, protect your peace, pay attention to character, don't ignore patterns, trust God for wisdom, and never become so desperate for companionship that you sacrifice the future you're trying to build. Keep growing, Keep your faith, keep uplifted, and I'll see you in the next video.